Good evening, urine samplers. Tonight, I'm trying out a brand new beer from Trillium in growler form called Launch Beer. They wrote 5% on here, but the website says 5.7. I don't really care too much. It's middle of the road and not too much of a difference. So this is a brand new beer that is brewed the first time, where it looks like they're going for something slightly different, more of a session English influenced style. They actually use Pilsner malt in this one as the base, whereas I think they usually just use two-row, and basically just two-row, or two-row and a little wheat and a little corn sugar. But this has Pilsner, white wheat, Carapils, C15, I think it's a type of crystal malt, and flaked oats. So they're just making a little more complex malt bill. They still say it's going to be very pale. And then the dry hop is Mosaic and Citra. And they also say they're not going for much bitterness, so it seems like they're going for something that's just not pure, unmitigated hop glory with this one, which is fine. They can go and try something new. And I'm excited to try it, but the reviews have kind of been polarizing a little bit that I've seen. Some people say it was a little buttery. Some people say it was just as good as others, so they always seal it very tight. There we go. Alright, see if I can pour a big growler up high in the air right now. And I'm using this big glass, because I figure this is more suitable for an English style. It's hard to show that to you though. But yeah, it does not look nearly as hazy as a normal thing, and it has a little bit of a golden toasted color in there. Pretty nice head. It's not quite as dense as usual for Trillium, but it smells really good. Ooh, yeah. Wow, it does. I do get a touch of butteriness from that, but it just smells English. Maybe they use a different yeast, or they just ferment their yeast at a higher temperature or something. It also could come from the toastier malts they use, but yeah, you can see through that pretty well. I mean, it's not totally filtered completely, and this has also been sitting in my fridge for 6 days. Head's still sticking around pretty well. So some of the yeast has probably fallen to the bottom, but it still has perfect carbonation level. Their growlers are always filled with such good quality that you could even have them for probably a couple weeks and they'd be fine. But there is a little bit of a butterscotch thing going on in there, which some people might not like. I don't mind it too much, but we'll see how I feel after drinking a bunch of this. It's got some interesting mosaic resinous and tropical fruit qualities, but the yeastiness and the malts do match up with it, I'd say, but I can still tell it's a very hoppy brew. And it's kind of like if you put a little bit of caramel or just a touch of molasses on top of your pineapple, or mixed in with your passion fruit, which sounds weird. Still pretty clean finish, not quite slick. Very nice, but very, very English, and I can see why people would be a little confused, because Trillium hasn't done really anything in any English style that I can think of. But very dry, not too much body, and I wonder if this is actually what some English IPAs are like, because the English IPAs tend to be a little lower in alcohol than American styles. But I'm enjoying this a lot, and I haven't really had any beer like this before, because most of the beers these days, where they use Mosaic and Citra and all that. They use super clean American ale yeast fermented at low temperatures, so you don't even taste any yeastiness, and not even like even less than lager yeast sometimes, I feel like, because with lagers you know some sulfurous quality. But this is using a fruity, slightly buttery, toasty, biscuity, definitely biscuity yeast that almost makes it seem like they've got more British malts in it, but it's actually Pilsner malt. I think it actually, the way it looks like Pilsner Urquell to me. And it has some of that toasty, unique Pilsner quality to it. This is really a mixture of lots of brewing traditions, I'd say. It's like American, and then with sort of the British yeastiness, and then more of a German style or Czech style malt profile. Except I guess the Germans probably wouldn't use wheat in anything that had Pilsner malt. Not usually. And it's very dry and crisp, but no lingering bitterness. I mean some, but it's kind of grassy and biscuity the way it lingers with some orange. But yeah, if you hadn't told me, I would thought this is just like a fantastic British IPA, and I'm enjoying it a lot. But it's not exactly what you would expect from Trillium. But this is something that's actually kind of hard to find in America these days. So I'm very glad that I picked it up. Even though I was a little bit worried, I was like, is this just going to be sort of a mess up beer by Trillium? But I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing with this one. Yeah, it's interesting how just a few different malts and a different way of using the yeast can really shift over those dry hop flavors and aromas. It still smells juicy. And it's just extremely refreshing. This would go really well with Thanksgiving. I guess I didn't bring it to Thanksgiving, or with any other, with British foods, any foods that are kind of this golden color that has a little bit of toasty quality to it. But it's perfect for just drinking the whole growler on your own, which I might do. I'll probably share a little. Yeah, I would probably give this a 7.75 or something. It's exceedingly drinkable, and I keep wanting more of it. It's not quite as much of an explosion of juice and resin and unique tropical flavors, but it's got all that. It's perhaps more complex in a way than a lot of Trillium beers, just because they're all about the hops. And this one's got some other things happening. Not that I don't think one hop by itself can be ridiculously complex, but this it hits a few more areas of flavor that you wouldn't normally get in a Trillium beer. So Trillium launch beer, 7.75.